Hello, how are we all doing? First things first, in a very team style, is my mic turned on? Can you hear me? Wonderful, that's a good start. Allow me to introduce myself. So my name's Alex Shepherd, and I lead the solution sales team for commerce over at Adobe. For those of you who haven't seen us, you can see the stand just over there. It's got a big red light on top of it, so hopefully you won't miss it. Thank you very much indeed for joining us today. Really do appreciate you taking your time out. Now, when we were asked to speak at the event, we thought, okay, what can we talk about? We could talk about some of the stuff we've been doing with generative AI. We could talk about AI in general around e-commerce. We could talk about consumers' perspectives. But actually, we're in a market where investment's tight. A lot of retailers are having a really tough time at the moment. So I thought what might be more interesting perhaps to the audience is to hear from some of your peers, hear about some of their experiences, hear about some of their opinions and what's really driving their investment decisions and driving their business decisions moving forward. So I've invited today a panel of our customers, some of whom have been with us for quite a long time, some of whom have just gone live with us, and some of whom are actually in the process of going through that build phase with the Adobe Commerce product. To start with, I'm just going to introduce the panel and let them introduce themselves really. So Sean, if we start with you.
Hello everybody, my name's Sean Newmarch, I'm the e-commerce director at Farrell & Ball. So I'm one of the customers that is re-platforming onto Adobe. So we've just been through the recent RFP process and I'm here to talk to you about the decisions that we made and the reasons that we chose Adobe over all of the other options. For those of you that don't know Farrell & Ball, we create wonderful paint and wallpaper to help people create beautiful spaces in their homes all over the world. Tracy?
And then if we move on to Tracy.
Thank you. My name is Tracy Drain. I am the head of e-commerce for a company called Spectrum Brands. They're a Fortune 500 company. I work for the HPC division, which is the brands Remington, Russell Hobbs and George Foreman. We've done a fairly recent re-platform for our international division onto Adobe Commerce Cloud Pro. I've done builds in the past with other businesses that I've worked for on Magento, so we're currently going through quite a big digital transformation process from being a brand manufacturer to a brand retailer.
And if we move on to Sue.
Hi, I'm Sue Stephenson. I've been with Adobe actually 7 years, and my current role, I was at Science in Sport, which is on a full Adobe stack, which is not just commerce, it's Target, it's Adobe Campaign and CDP. And I have over 25 years of retail experience covering anything from office shoes, Ted Baker, Apricot, and the one that people like on my CV would be Arsenal Football Club. I'll leave that one there.
And if we hand over to Jason.
Thanks, Alex. Jason Court, Director of Product Planning and Marketing for Sharp Electronics Europe, and that's our B2B business. And 4 weeks ago we went live with our first Adobe web shop, which was very exciting, and now we're extending that to 18 other countries across Europe. So it's a major investment and rollout for us.
It is, and a very considered purchase, that's for sure. So what I'd like to do for the audience today is just really explore what are your business goals and ultimately how does the e-commerce strategy build towards that. Let's start with you, Jason, on this one, if that's okay.
Yeah, thanks, Alex. It's very fresh in the mind. So actually probably 3 elements to it. This year as Sharp we celebrate 111 years as a business, so probably one of the oldest businesses in the world. But looking forward to the next 111 years, our immediate challenge is to reduce our cost to serve our customers in a very mature print business, and serving our customers utilising e-commerce is a natural way to do that. But then as we diversify our portfolio more into IT services, but also take advantage of some of our consumer portfolio for our B2B customers, again, the e-commerce platform is the only way really to extend the reach to many more customers, but also to be able to afford to serve them, because some of those items are relatively low cost and we can't afford for a salesperson to go out and sell in the traditional way. And probably thirdly actually is It's the change in the generational demographic of our customers, and very shortly there won't be any baby boomers or millennials, or sorry, Gen X left in the workforce making decisions, and the ones that will be left will be all digital natives, and they will be expected to be served in a digital way.
That's a very good point. We are reaching the scrap heap, aren't we? Very depressing. But,
I'm looking to retire soon.
Sue, can we get your perspective, please?
In terms of strategy, for me, I think it's a lot of the things that everyone's facing out there. It's improved marketing spend and getting better ROAS, looking at our social media, looking at growth on TikTok. Some brands out there are doing it really good right now, and some are really struggling. And in addition to that, it's looking at customer segments for growth as part of our international rollout. So we have a really heavy CDP system. And the next thing for me is, well, if you have customer segments, how do you then go about serving those segments without increasing headcount? And so for me, we're actually quite advanced where we're at Science and Sport, and I'm actually now looking at Gen AI and how that can actually help us into our growth as a phase.
Yeah, I think that's quite an interesting thing, because very few brands have really got to grips with Gen AI and how that can help their business. But what we are seeing is consumers wanting hyper-personalised experiences, and with that hyper-personalisation comes a need to really deliver a lot of content. So I think it's really interesting to see brands like SIS and Asprey and various others who are using this to evolve not only imagery but things like product descriptions, content on the site. And I think it's probably a huge opportunity for a lot of retailers out there, for sure. Tracy?
So from an e-commerce perspective, we're looking to make sure that as a brand manufacturer that we are interacting more directly with the consumers that own our products, rather than kind of that heavy reliance we have on high street retailers. Obviously, the high street is changing, and we've got to move with that. We've got to adapt and make sure that consumers can buy from wherever they choose to, rather than just being tied to specific retailers, because they own that customer data. So customer data is very important to us, and understanding how and what our product owners want from their appliances now and in the future. We can really mainly get that through selling directly to the consumer. And we also want to make sure that our brands are globalized, so that no matter where in the international region or in the world that you are interacting with our brand, you're getting exactly the same, that consistent same brand experience, which is building the trust.
Yeah. And Sean, obviously this is very fresh in your mind, having literally gone through the process a few months ago. How does the e-commerce strategy play in at Farrow & Ball?
So obviously we're a distribution point for our products, so we operate a D2C business, but in the world of interior design, there's nothing more personal to you than your home, and people use Farrow & Ball as a design tool when they go through that process of decoration, when they're making choices about colours and styles and rooms, and we needed to create a platform that is responsive and personalised, that is listening to the things that you're interacting with, the choices that you're leaning towards, and then constantly adapting and evolving to provide that personalised experience back to you, so that if you're leaning towards a blue kitchen, then our website's also leaning that way with you and presenting the inspiration accordingly. So we really needed a platform that could take our personalisation strategy to the next level to help people find those perfect solutions for their home.
Excellent, thank you. And I think that really leads us into my next question. I think you probably partially answered it already, to be fair, Sean. I was going to ask, why did you choose Adobe Commerce? Why Adobe over one of the other systems that was out there?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, the value that we create for customers is in the forward-facing experience. It's not in the technology stack. It's in the inspiration, the imagery, and the content that we provide to customers is where the value exchange happens. So we really needed a platform that wasn't a distraction to the business, but was an enabler to my teams and to the organisation. And I think the reason we chose Adobe Commerce is because of some of the uniqueness in the heritage of it being a Magento platform. It is somewhat pre-configured to be an exceptional e-commerce solution. But since joining the Adobe family, it's also now been enhanced and has that composable application where it can interface with all of the other wonderful products in the Adobe suite, be that target and personalization. So it enabled us to get to market quickly with the technology transition, because we're not reinventing the wheel, we're using those configured solutions, but it's also providing that future platform that we can bring our vision of a one-to-one personalized experience to life on top of.
And Tracy, why did you choose Adobe?
So historically we had a lot of tech debt with our sites, and in order to enable that direct-to-consumer piece, we did quite a robust RFP process. We had a lot of platforms in the mix there. We were very wary that we didn't want it to be driven by our IT, as it was historically being a decision that was made by IT, and it was more of a focusing on what was fitting with what was easy for the business, rather than what was right for the consumer. Adobe was selected because of its internationalization, that we weren't able to find a provider at that point in time that could match how we wanted to scale across all of Europe, APAC, etc., etc. So, and we weren't forced to do that all in one go. We were able to do that via the store view hierarchy, which has made a big difference in the way that we operate.
That makes sense.
It has a massive flexibility that, certainly for international brands that want to sell online.
I mean, international has always been at the heart, so it's a key area that we service. I'm going to jump to Jason, then come back to Sue.
Yeah, sure. I hope you're not picking on me.
No. So literally, why Adobe?
Yeah. Well, we went through an extensive 6-month market evaluation, and I think we started with over 10 potential platforms, and then clearly arrived at Adobe. And maybe some common reasons. We were looking for a platform that could support an international business, and one actually which is probably going to change a lot as well. So that was very important to us. The ability to scale with us as well, because I think we're just scratching the surface, and we have a substantial business that we need to support with the Adobe platform. But then also, again, that eye to the future. And one of the things that we really liked about the Adobe platform was the consumer orientation. And we know so much that consumer leads many of the trends that we see in B2B. That's not going to change. So again, we wanted a partner who could keep pace with the trends, if not actually set some of those trends as well, so we can take advantage of it.
Thank you. And I think, obviously, from a digital transformation point of view, Sharp is still fairly early in the journey, aren't you?
Yeah, I think that's true. We've got a long way to go. We've got a hell of a roadmap and a lot of money to spend.
Well, we like money to spend, that's clearly good. But no, it's exciting for us because it means that we can work with the Sharp team to really explore the various elements of their business and the objectives that they're trying to deliver, and work with them to think, okay, how can we fit around that? How can we work together to deliver those needs? So it's certainly exciting. Now, Sue, you have obviously been through many digital transformations and worked with many brands doing it, and worked with many platforms, not just Adobe. Why is it that at SIS, at your recent post, why is it that you picked Adobe?
I think the Adobe Commerce was interesting for me because I have come from other platforms and some big competitors where this is a really interesting point. Even to ask a question, I'd have to go and ask a big tech lead just to make a decision. On Adobe Commerce, you don't. You can go into GitHub, you can go on, look online, you can go and buy a plugin, and there is a lot of SIs out there helping you. Adobe Commerce, for us was a big important thing for multi-tenanted. We are a multi-tenanted brand, so SIS also has PhD, and we wanted to focus on international rollout just like these guys. And one of the RFP questions was, can your platform actually take Asian characters? And actually not all platforms can. I also needed to have a platform that was fluid in UX, because whilst templated sites are absolutely fantastic, as a brand we wanted to have a lot more fluidity. And we built in with the Adobe stack, so we have Adobe Target, and Adobe have done a lot of work on their AEM recently for their headless solution, and being a full Adobe suite means I can sit all of that tech stack on one SI and be able to manage that seamlessly. So it was not just about having an e-commerce platform, it was really about having all the additional things that Adobe bring to the table. And I'm personally, for one, I'm excited about the Gen AI, and if you haven't seen Adobe Firefly, I'm sure you all have, definitely go Google that, it's really exciting. The way that creates content is amazing, and it's more about Adobe as a whole brand rather than just the commerce piece for me.
Yeah, and that's something we are trying to focus on. We try to build more and more of those product features into the product as we go. So, for example, we've got a 3D product rendering tool that's in beta at the moment that will enable you to create 3D visualizations of products, which is very much a creative suite application built into commerce. So we're constantly looking at how we can evolve and how we can deliver more of that Adobe proposition throughout each of the product lines. So I think every project has its challenge. Every project opens us up to things that we haven't thought about before, things that we didn't predict. I could talk about Kasai shows with Jason at Sharp, but are there any lessons that you've learned through your most recent transformation? I'm going to jump back to Sue on this one.
I think the most important thing for me is the RFP phase, and we know that people who are looking at commerce solutions, it's very painful to look at the RFP, but asking the right questions of your platform is key. Getting that from day one. Is this platform going to be right for you for the next 3 to 5 years? Because you don't want to be re-platforming once you've put one in it. It's a big commitment. So the next thing for me is picking the right SI. And I'm currently, and I don't know if I'm allowed to say the Pixel one, but I've just said it. And they've actually helped our growth journey, both commercially as well as technically. And that's going to be key for me. When you're picking the right partner, you're more likely to have a successful outcome. If you don't have the right partner, it's going to cost you in the long run, and that's going to end up costing technical debt. And that's going to be key for me, I would say. Get the RFP correct, make sure you have the right partner.
Perfect. Thank you. Jason, we'll pass over to you so you can plug SQLi.
You got it. Excuse me. Yes, so really two things. Picking the right partner, who is SQLi for Sharp. But actually, excuse me, when we went through the tender process, each of the platform providers, we asked to recommend a partner. So when we went through the whole bid process, it was platform and systems integrator, and having that relationship with the systems integrator is vital. So we ran a number of chemistry sessions as well through the whole tender process, so we could be sure that we could work with these people, because one thing you can guarantee is you're going to hit a lot of obstacles as you go through the project, and sometimes it can get a bit ugly. So you need someone who actually you can have a strong relationship with, and who you can work through these things together. Because certainly with us, the first phase of the project is not the end. There's multiple phases, and again, you need that partner who can be with you on the full journey. Because certainly a company like Sharp, we're large and we're complex. It takes a long time to get to know us and how we work. I think the other important lesson for us as well is governance. Again, because one of the issues, particularly in a multi-country environment, everyone's got an opinion, everything's done a little bit differently, and everyone wants to do it their way. And of course that's not possible. So you need the right governance behind you, so actually you can make some of those difficult decisions that might not always be popular, but you need to make the decisions to keep the project moving forward. So they're probably my two big lessons on the project.
Thank you, Jason. I do remember some of those frustrations early on. All good. And Tracy, from your perspective, what lessons have you learned in replatforming?
I think one of the main ones from being a manufacturer and going through not selling directly to the consumer at all, to then building our own platforms out, would be to ensure, especially in larger organisations like Spectrum, is to drag everybody in on it. Don't just it's not just one team. It's not you may have a digital team, an e-commerce team, and they're usually the drivers behind it, but it's not going to succeed. It will not work unless you've got legal, finance, your supply chain team in order, your logistics team in order, or even down to kind of HR, if you're employing digital people. But that was a massive learning curve for me. Was you can't just go off and do D2C within a business without making sure that everybody is on board whether they want to be or not, push the project onto them, push them, keep your project at the forefront of the mind and right at the top of the business priorities. And then once you have got that kind of strategy aligned and everybody is aligned internally, you do need, to everybody else's point here, a really good SI, a really good 3PI. That can make or break the project. I've been on the side of things where things haven't gone so well, and when we've moved and gone with a provider that can match our brand expectations for D2C, it's been a game changer. They basically take a lot of the stress away, because it can become, such a mammoth project, like we've got for the international region is huge, and it can be really overwhelming. And if you're within a business that isn't really kind of a digital first business, or a primary e-commerce business, you need that support from your external 3PI, and we have that with ours. They're great. They've taken a massive weight off my shoulders. My work stress is far less than it ever was. So thanks, our 3PI. I'm allowed to mention we share the same 3PI. It's the Pixel. So they've been great. They do make me essentially look pretty good at my job, if I'm honest. So
good. And Sean, you're clearly in the thick of it right now, so you're learning as we go. What key takeouts have you got?
To really echo in Sue's point that when you're making your platform selection, that evaluation is as much about what you need it to do today as it is about what you need it to do in the future. And some of the reason that we're re-platform is because we got into a bit of a pickle with our old platform where we bent the core of the system. So that major upgrade that inevitably comes along became a re-platform in itself anyway. So our big lesson and sort of a mandate that we've got with our SI is to keep the core pure. So I think if you're fighting your technology and you're not fast to market because you've bent things out of shape, you need to reevaluate, have I got the platform I need for the future? Because actually when you go out to market, there are plenty of things available off the shelf that will not only do what you need today, but already be configured to take you to that next step in the future as well.
Okay, so I've just been warned that we're running out of time, so I'm going to skip to a later question, because one of the things that a few people have been talking to me about today on the stand, and one of the things that I know everyone on the panel has had to deal with, is when you're making a significant investment, when you're looking to invest in new technology, other people need to be on board. To Tracy's point earlier, you have to get a multitude of people on board. So with this in mind, how did you go about persuading the business, the senior stakeholders in the business, to make these investment decisions? Sean, we'll start with you.
So for us, people in your organisation can see what you do today, but as an e-commerce leader, it's your responsibility to also show them the vision of what you want to do tomorrow. So when you're trying to bring people with you, put as much effort and energy into telling that story, bringing that vision to life through film, creative, whatever it is, but paint the picture of what you want the future to be, and then talk about how this choice helps you get there. But you've got to put as much effort into communicating the vision to bring people with you.
Okay, and very quickly, I'm being hurried up here, so a couple of points on how you got people on board.
That was perfectly articulated, to be honest with you. That's
fair enough. Anything to add, Sue?
No, I'm with Sean on this one.
Jason?
Cost to serve, reach of customers, and that generational change, because serve your customers how they want to be served.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant. Look, thank you very much indeed for your time, everyone. It's much appreciated. I do hope that you found that useful. If you have questions for me, for any of the panel, I'm sure everyone will be happy to answer questions. So we'll mill around towards the back after this. Please do stop us and have a chat. Perfect. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.